Hey everyone, it's Wade Franson back with another sneak peek for Created in the Image of God. I have a guest that I've been so looking forward to interviewing on the show. His name is Mark Oppenheimer. He says that he likes his religion somewhat traditional. He's Jewish here in America. And on the political sphere, he might be somewhat more left of center. His work, as he described it to me in our brief preparation for this interview, is he likes to objectively report on things, obviously to help people form their own opinions, but he sometimes offers his own as well. So he's an interesting mix of what America needs more of, in my opinion, right now. Welcome to the studio, Mark.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Well, we always like to let our guests know a little bit about who it is that we're interviewing. So how would you describe your upbringing and background?
I'm a New Englander. I was raised in Springfield, Massachusetts, the eldest of 4 children, 2 Jewish parents, very different kinds of Judaism. My father was from the what is called classical Reform tradition that was created by German and Central European immigrants in America. My mother's parents were both from Orthodox backgrounds, but had become communists, so very aggressively secular in their outlook. And so I sometimes joke that I was uniquely bred to be indifferent to religious observance, but somehow it didn't work out that way. And then I went to college and ended up doing a PhD in religious studies, but never with the idea of being a scholar, always much more interested in going into reporting and bringing religion and religious news to a broader public rather than staying in academia. So, and fortunately it all worked out.
Well, I'm excited to interview you because my audience knows I'm serially putting out a series of articles, writing a book on the role of religion in civilization building throughout history. It's a sort of a, for dummies, right? I'm no scholar either, but looking back, starting with Adam, Abraham, Noah, what did these people contribute, and then Moses, of course, and Jesus, but also Muhammad, Buddha, civilizations rise. Göbekli Tepe taught us this, that, first came that temple that you're probably familiar with this, and the religious idea, and civilization arose from the idea of religion. So this mix that you probably got from your parents, how do you incorporate this view in your reporting and writing?
Well, I come from a tradition, Judaism, that has a lot of room for argument. That's in fact, a sacred gesture in the religion. So the halls of study, the Bate Midrash, the Beit Midrashes, are places where people pair up in what are called chavrusas, which is partners. You learn together 2 at a time, and you sit over a text and you argue over it, and you share competing observations. And the text itself are often books of the Talmud, which is a record of disputations among rabbis fighting over how to interpret things and arriving at conclusions. I mean, it's literally a record of arguments. So we are truly the anti-literalist, anti-fundamentalist religion. Argument is totally essential. Contesting is totally essential. So that's in the tradition. My parents were both very much that way. Nothing was ever handed to us as dogma, in anything, in religion, in politics, in life. We were encouraged to argue with them. Not that they didn't have this final say in their household when we were growing up, but there was certainly no because I said so. I mean, it was always, you explain stuff, you talk about stuff, you quarrel about stuff. And then I entered into, a guild of journalists where part of the job is to always be seeking different points of view. So I think that in a lot of ways, starting with my religious heritage, I'm inclined towards skepticism, argument, disputation. The other thing that I would say Judaism and the Abrahamic faiths give us specifically, which I think is very much in my intellectual DNA, is a kind of anti-relativism. I mean, remember that it's Torah, it's the Old Testament that says, there's one God, not multiple gods. You have to worship this one God, and anything else is idol worship. And so they were saying to a world of people that was organized by warring tribes, each of whom had their own local divinities, their own local icons. They were saying, actually, that doesn't work. Your icons are not as good as ours. In fact, they're idols. There's one God. And what that means, of course, is that there's one set of ethics. So it means that if rape is wrong in this town, it's wrong in this town. If stealing is wrong in this town, it's wrong across the valley 20 miles away. That's really, really important. I mean, that's how you end up with meaningful systems of justice. That's how you end up with a Rawlsian idea like justice as fairness, is that you say there's whether you want to say one God or one morality or one set of rules, The idea that it not only can apply to everyone, but has to apply to everyone is really essential to, to civilization.
So the idea of a true north, right? But people coming at it from the north, south, east, west will have different perspectives and views. There's maybe a thesis and an antithesis, and it's up to each person to form their own synthesis in light of understanding that there is a true north. Is that fair?
And more, yeah, absolutely. And more than that, I mean, Judaism teaches that we do not teach that everyone should be Jewish. In fact, there was a specific covenant with a specific group, with a family, with one family, and it's a permeable family. It's a family that you can marry into and be adopted into. It's not just bloodlines, but it nevertheless, it is a family, a kinship network, and they are supposed to have Jewish practices, but Gentiles are not supposed to have Jewish practices. They're supposed to have the practices of whatever their communities are.
But even there, you have the Noahide covenant, right? And the righteous among the nations. So there was a full standard for all people, and then the Jews had specific requirements that were not applied to everybody else.
Yeah, and by the count of Maimonides, the medieval Iberian sage, there are 613 mitzvot or commandments that apply to Jews. Many of which are not practicable without the temple. I mean, unless and until a temple gets rebuilt, there's several hundred of them that are irrelevant. But there are still, a couple hundred that are relevant and apply to Jews, and some apply according to Orthodoxy to Jewish men, and others to all Jews, but to Jews. And then there are 7 Noahide laws that apply to everybody. Do not, honor thy father and mother, and do not kill, and things like that. So.
Is blood also that you shouldn't be eating blood? Is that one of the Noahide laws?
Yeah, the dietary laws are not among the Noahide laws, I don't think.
Okay.
So
we'll research it before the show.
Yeah.
I'm gonna crash land this plane now, but
sure.
But everyone needs to tune in, because what we're seeing here,
we're gonna keep going.
This is the sneak peek, short one. So what we're seeing here, folks, is that you can't really truly understand the modern world and some of the issues and challenges that we're having on the face of this planet right now. Some of the top issues can be much better understood by taking a little bit of what Mark has, which is that deep study into religion and its role in society. So Mark, I could not be more excited about spending a whole hour with you in front of a live audience on October 1st.
No,
anything you want to add? Because I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you said October 1st. That's wrong. It's October 21st.
October 21st. Thank you for correcting me. See,
no,
now we're not going to argue about that. We're going to settle on October 21st.
I have nothing to add. It'll be great. It'll be great fun.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. See you there.